Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to the second chapter of our subject strategic management. We stopped last time on talking about chapter 2, mapping the terrain. So, welcome to chapter 2, mapping the terrain. Before any journey begins, we must understand the landscape we are traversing. You wouldn't start hiking in unfamiliar mountains without a map, right? You study the terrain, identify landmarks, understand where the dangers are, find the best path forward. Same principles applies to your career. In strategic management, this means conducting a comprehensive assessment of both the external environment and your internal capabilities. The external environment is everything happening outside of you. Market trends, technological change, economic conditions, social movements. Your internal capabilities are your personal resources, your skills, knowledge, connections, time, money, and unique talents. This chapter focuses on the analytical tool that helps you map the terrain, identifying opportunity, threats, strengths, and weaknesses that will shape your strategic choices. These aren't just academic exercises. These are practical tools you'll return to again and again throughout your career. Now let's move to the North Star, the journey vision. Let's start with three fundamental and foundational concepts that every strategic plan needs: vision, mission, and values. First, vision. Your vision is your aspirational image of the future, what you ultimately want to achieve or become. It's your North Star, the distant point you're navigating toward, even when the path gets confusing. A good vision is inspiring, specific, and meaningful to your personality. For example, G.K. Rowling's enduring visions for the Harry Potter universe began long before any publisher showed interesting. Showed interest. She had a complete vision of a seven-book series about a boy wizard, despite receiving 12 rejections from publishers. Her clear vision of this magical world guided her persistence. She knew exactly where she was going. She didn't give up when obstacles appeared. This vision later expanded to encompass films, theme parks, video games, and a global franchise worth billions. But it started as one person's clear, compelling vision of what she wanted to create. Without that vision, she might have given up after the third or fourth rejection. Now let's move to mission. Your mission is different from your vision. Your mission is your purpose and primary objectives. Why you exist and what do you do today and what you do day to day. While vision is your ultimate destination. Mission is your daily practice, your reason for being. The New York Times mission is to seek the truth and help people understand the world. This simple statement guides every editorial decision, every investigation, every feature they publish when faced with faculty choices. Should we publish this controversial story? Should we chase clicks with sensational headlines? Should we cut costs by reducing investigate journalism? Their mission provide the answer. This clarity of purpose has helped them navigate the digital transformation of journalism while maintaining their core identity. When newspapers all around them were dying or becoming clickbait factories, The New York Times stayed true to their mission and actually grew their digital subscriber base. Mission keeps course or keeps you grounded and focused when external pressure try to push you off course. Now let's go to talking about the North Star and the journey values. Values are the principles and beliefs that guide your behavior and decision making. They are the non-negotiables, the lines you won't cross, the things you stand for. Patagonia, the outdoor clothing company, has a core value of environmental activism. This value shapes everything from their supply chain decisions to their famous "Don't buy this jacket" campaign, which urged customers and consumers to consider the environmental impact of their purchases. Think about how radical that is. A company telling customers not to buy their product because it's better for the environment. But this alignment between values and actions creates authenticity that resonates deeply with their target audience. People trust Patagonia because they walk their talk. For you as a creative professional, clearly defined values help you make decisions about which projects to take, which organizations to work with, which compromises you'll accept, and which you won't. Your values are your ethical compass. The North Star and the Journey application for creatives. For creative professionals, clearly articulated vision, mission, and values serve as both compass and filter. They help you decide which projects align with your long-term goals and which, despite perhaps offering short-term gains, will ultimately lead you astray from your choosing path. Let me give you a concrete example. Your vision statement might be something like to become a respected voice in climate fiction that inspires environmental action. This North Star would then inform everything. Your research priorities would focus on climate science and environmental issues. Your networking efforts would target environmental organization, climate scientists, and green publishers. The themes you explore in your work would consistently address ecological concerns when someone offers you a well-paying ghostwriting gig for a climate change denial book. Your vision makes decisions easy. No, because it contradicts where you're heading. Vision, mission, and values aren't limiting. They are liberating because they make decisions clearer. Now, let's move to the external tides. Bastal, political. Now let's explore the external environment using a framework called Bastal analysis. Bastal stands for political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and the legal factors. These are the measures. These are the major external forces that shape the landscape you're operating in. Let's start with political factors. Book bans in Texas schools are currently affecting the publishing houses' acquisition strategies and author freedoms. Over 800 titles were challenged in 2023 alone, creating both risks and opportunities for writers addressing controversial themes. This is a political force you need to be aware of if you're writing young adult fiction about LGBTQ plus themes or racial justice. You need to understand that certain markets may be close to you, but others may be hunger for your voice. Political factors also include things like government funding for the arts, censorship laws, international trade policies affecting book exports, and tax policies for freelancers. You might not be able to control these political forces, but you need to be aware of them and factor them into your strategic planning. Now, let's move to social. Social factors refer to cultural trends, demographic, and the social movements. Here is a dramatic example: TikTok's impact on reading habits and book promotion. The book community on TikTok has generated billions and billions of views and revitalized interest in reading among younger generations. Some authors have seen 500% of more increases in sales after going viral on BookTok. This is a social trend that has completely transformed book market. 10 years ago, book markets meant bookstores, newspaper reviews, and maybe a Good Morning America appearance. Today, a 15-year-old TikTok video can sell more books than a front page New York Times review. Other social factors include changing attitudes about diversity and the literature, and the rise of sensitivity creators, growing interest in mental health narratives, and shifting gender dynamics in readership. These social trends create opportunities if you position um, yourself correctly, but they can also make your existing approach absolute if you ignore them. Now let's move to environmental. Environmental factors include both ecological concerns and their impact on culture and markets. The rise of climate fiction, Caliphate, as a major literary genre is influencing narrative themes across publishing. Literary agents report a 40% increase in submissions addressing climate themes since 2020. This isn't just about environmental books. Climate anxiety is seeping into all genres, thrillers set against environmental collapse, romances dealing with co-activism, science fiction exploring climate futures. If you're a writer, you need to ask yourself, how does climate change factor into my work? Even if you're not writing especially about climate, the environmental crisis is shaping reader consciousness and expectations. Publishers are also facing environmental questions about paper sourcing, printing practices, and the carbon footprint of shipping physical books. These environmental factors are only going to become more prominent in the coming decades. Now let's move to economic. Economic factors include employment trends, income levels, and the economic structures that affect your industry. The rise of the gig economy is creating new opportunities for freelance writers. Nearly 36% of the US workforce now participates in the gig economy, with content creation being one of the fastest growing sectors. This is a double-edged sword. On one hand, there are more opportunities to piece together living from multiple income streams, freelance articles, Substack, newsletter, occasional book deals, corporate copywriting. On the other hand, this often means less stability, no benefits, inconsistent income, and consistent hustle. Other economic factors include publishing industry consolidation, fewer larger publishers with more market power, the decline of advanced sizes for mid-list authors, the rise of subscription models like Kindle Unlimited, and economic recessions that affected discretionary spending on books. Understanding these economic forces helps you make realistic plans about income expectations and career sustainability. Now let's move to technological. Technological factors are perhaps the most dramatic and the fast-moving external forces right now. ChatGPT's emergence is forcing writers to re-evaluate their skills and value and the value proposition. AI tools can now generate basic content in seconds, shifting the premium toward any uniquely human perspectives, emotional depth and specialized expertise. If your main value is producing content but generic content, you're in trouble because AI can do that faster and faster, cheaper and faster. But if your value is unique voice, deep expertise, emotional intelligence, or creative innovation, you're actually in a strong position because AI cannot replicate those things, at least not yet. Other technological factors include ebooks and audiobooks, changing consumptions patterns, social media algorithms, determining content visibility, blockchain, and NFTs, creating new ownership models and platforms like Substack and Patreon, enabling direct creator to audio relationships. Technology is both threats and opportunity, and you need to stay informed about emerging technologies that could disrupt your field. Now let's move to legal. Legal factors include laws, regulations, and legal precedents that affect your work, copyright law challenges in the age of AI-generated content are creating massive uncertainty right now. Recent lawsuits by authors against AI companies for unauthorized use of their work as training data raise fundamental questions about intellectual property rights. If you're a writer, your copyright is your primary asset. It's what allows you to earn money from your work over time. But AI companies have trained their models on millions of copyrighted books without permission or compensation. How courts resolve these cases will fundamentally shape the future of creative work. Other legal factors include contracts with publishers, rights revision clauses, work for hire agreements, defamation law for journalists, fair use doctrine, international copyright treaties, and the tax law for self-employed creative. You do not need to be a lawyer, but you need basic legal literacy to protect yourself and your work. Now let's go to uh, the external ties Bristol summary. The Bristol framework helps you systematically analyze external forces that will impact your career and creative work by monitoring these trends across all six categories: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. You can identify emerging opportunities before competitors, anticipate threats before they materialize, and position your work at the intersection of important cultural conversations. The key is to do this analysis regularly, not just once external environment is constantly changing. So you need to um periodically scan for new developments. I recommend doing a quick pistol analysis every 6 months and a deep analysis annually. This keeps you informed and helps you adapt your strategy as the landscape shifts. Remember, you can control these external forces, but you can position yourself strategically in response to them. Now, let's go to the external compass, SWOT strengths. Now, let's turn from the external environment to your international capabilities using SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Let's start with strengths. Your positive internal attributes and resources. Examples of strengths for a creative professional might include your unique narrative voice that readers consistently praise. This is incredibly valuable because voice can't be easily copied or taught. Deep research skills on through academic training. If you can dig deeper than other writers, you can produce more authoritative, insightful work, a strong personal network or industry connections. Agents, editors, fellow writers who can open doors for you. Exceptional interviewing techniques for gathering authentic material which makes you work for feel real and grounded, consistent writing discipline and productive habits. Maybe you write 100% words every morning without fail. This reliability is a massive competitive advantage because most creative people struggle with consistency. The key is to be honest and specific about your actual strengths, not what you wish your strengths were. Now let's go to opportunities. Opportunities are external factors that you can potentially exploit to your advantage, not note that opportunities are external, not internal. They exist in the environment around you, but you need the capability to see them. Examples include emerging platforms like Substack for direct audience monetization. This opportunity exists for everyone, but you need certain capabilities existing audiences, consistent output, newsletter writing skills to exploit it, growing uh, niche marks for specialized content in your area of expertise. Maybe you are an expert, in medieval history, and there's growing demand for historical fiction set in that period, increasing demand for ethical AI content oversight and editing as AI generated content platform pro proliferators humans who can edit, fact check, and improve AI outputs become valuable international markets. Opening through digital distribution, your book can now reach readers in 190 countries one day on podcast adaptations of written content, reaching new audiences. Your novel could become a podcast series. You say could become a podcast episode. Opportunities are possibilities that exist outside. You're waiting to be seized by someone who, with the right capabilities and the timing. Now let's move to weaknesses. Weaknesses are your internal limitations and negative attributes. This is the hardest part of SWOT or SWOT analysis because it requires brutal honesty with yourself. Nobody likes admitting their weaknesses, but this self-awareness is essential for improvement. Examples might include tendency toward procrastination under deadline pressure. You do your best work with unlimited time, but you struggle when the clock is ticking, limited social media presence, and digital marketing skills. Your writing is excellent, but nobody knows you exist because you haven't built an online platform. A narrow-drawn focus that limits the potential audience reach. You only write experimental literary fiction, which has a tiny audience compared to commercial fiction. Inconsistent quality control in early drafts. Your first drafts are messy and require extensive revision. Reluctance to negotiate compensation for your work. You accept whatever payment is offered because you're uncomfortable advocating for yourself. The point of identifying weaknesses isn't to feel bad about yourself, it's to understand where you need to improve or compensate. Some weaknesses you can work to eliminate. Others you might need to work around by part, partnering with people who have complementary strengths. Now, let's move to slide 35, talking about the threats. Threats are external factors that mm, could harm your prospects, like opportunities. Threats are external, not internal. Examples include content saturation, making audiences discovery more difficult. There are more books published every year than ever before, making it harder for any individual book to break through the noise. AI content generation commoditizing basic writing skills. If AI can produce competent blog posts or simple articles, the market rate for that work drops toward zero. Economic downturns impacting media budgets and freelance rates. When companies cut costs, freelance writing budgets are often the first to go, shortening attention spans, reducing demands for long form content. People increasingly prefer TikTok videos over long articles or books. That's a threat to traditional writers. Platform algorithm changes suddenly, reducing content visibility or carefully build Facebook audience becomes worthless when Facebook changes its algorithm and stops showing your posts. Threats are external dangers that you need to monitor and prepare for. Some threats you can defend against through strategic positioning. Others you just need to be aware of. So they don't blindside you. Now let's move to the summary. The SWOT analysis framework provides a structured way to evaluate your internal capabilities. Strengths and weaknesses against external factors, opportunities, and the threats. This is self-assessment is the foundation for strategic career planning and content development. Here is how to use SWOT strategically. Leverage your strengths to capitalize on opportunities. If you have strong research or if you have strong research skills and there is demand for historical fiction, combine them, show up weaknesses that prevent you from seizing opportunities. If you lack social media skills, but that's essential for modern book marketing, invest in learning, use strengths to defend against threats. If AI threatens basic writing, double down on the uniquely human strengths AI cannot replicate, address the intersection of weaknesses and threats most urgently. If you're weak at networking and the industry is consolidating, you're in danger. I recommend doing a personal SWOT analysis at least annually. and updating it as your situation changes. This ongoing self-assessment keeps you grounded in reality while identifying clear paths for development and positioning. Now let's move to chapter 3, crafting the master plan. Welcome to chapter 3, crafting the master plan with the Clear. Understanding of both the external landscape and your internal capabilities, we now turn to the heart of strategic management, formulating your strategy. This is where all your analysis transforms into action. This chapter explores how to define your competitive advantage, market strategic choices about positioning, and translate high-level direction into actionable plans. We examine how the principles used by major media organizations can be adapted for individual creative careers. This is where strategy becomes concrete, where you move from I want to be successful to here is exactly how I'm going to build my career step by step. The frameworks we'll explore help you make the difficult choices that strategy requires. Because remember, strategy is much about what you choose not to do as what you choose to do. Now, let's move to Stephen King example. Talk about your literary superpower. So let's talk about competitive advantage. What I call your literary superpower. This is what makes you uniquely valuable in a crowded marketplace. Stephen King provides a perfect example. His competitive advantage lies in his mastery of suspense and his ability to create relatable characters, even in the most grotesque or supernatural situations. King doesn't just write about scary monsters, he writes about recognizable people dealing with extraordinary circumstances. You care about this or his characters before the horror begins, which makes the horror more impactful. This distinctive blend has helped him sell over 3,500 million books across multiple genres while maintaining a recognizable kingness to his work. Whether you're reading The Shining, The Stand, or 11 slash 2020 slash 63, you know you're reading Stephen King. That consistent quality, that consistent quality combined with distinctive noise is competitive advantage. He's not competing on price. His books command premium prices. He's not competing on speed. He doesn't rush books out. He competes on the unique value only he can deliver. Your literary superpower, the economist example. Here is another example from a very different part of the media landscape. The Economist, online publication that chase breaking news. The Economist has built its competitive advantage around a deep dive, a global analysis with a distinctive world review. They're not trying to be first with the news. CNN and X will always be them to breaking stories. Instead, they offer something different, thoughtful analysis that helps readers understand what the news means. They have consistent editorial voices, smart, slightly constrained economically liberal, global-minded readers know exactly what they are getting with every issue. This clarity of positioning has all allowed them to thrive while many other magazines have struggled or died. They charge a premium subscription prices and readers happily pay because the Economist offers uh, something you cannot get anywhere else. That's a competitive advantage, being the only source for something people value. Now let's go to your literary superpower, what makes you indispensable. So, in a world where content is abundant and attention is scarce, competitive advantage is the answer to a crucial question. Why should anyone choose your work over countless alternatives? These are millions of writers, thousands of new books published every week, endless articles, blogs, social media posts competing for attention. In this environment, being pretty good at writing is not enough. You need something that makes you specifically valuable, something that makes readers seek out your work rather than accepting whatever the algorithm served them. This is your competitive advantage, your literary superpower. Without it, you're just another competent writer in an ocean of competent writers. Within it or with it, you're indispensable to specific audiences who cannot get what you offer anywhere else. Now let's go for source of competitive advantage. For creative writers, for creative professional, competitive advantage typically derives from one or more of these sources. First, a distinctive voice or perspective that cannot be easily replicated. This is about how you see the world and express yourself, your unique fingerprint on the page. Second, specialized knowledge or expertise in a particular subject area, maybe your a neuroscientist neuroscientist who writes science fiction, or a former CIA analyst who writes thrillers. That deep expertise creates authenticity others cannot fake. Third, a unique process or methodology that produces superior results. Maybe you have an innovative research technique or a distinctive creative process. Fourth, network and relationships that provide exclusive access or opportunities. Maybe you have inside access to a particular community or role that provides material others cannot get. Fifth, consistent quality or reliability that builds trust over time. Maybe readers know that anything with your name on it will be worth their time. The key is identifying which of these sources you can develop into a real competitive advantage, then investing heavily in that advantage. Now let's go to the last slide for today. We are talking about the Porter's Five Forces industry rivalry. So now let's examine competitive dynamics using Michael Porter's five frame workforces. This helps you understand the competitive pressure in your specific domain. The first force is industry rivalry, competitive among or competition among existing players. Traditional publishers compete fiercely with self-publishing platforms, webtoon creators, and the multimedia storytelling formats. The competition for audience attention has never been more increased, with over 2 million new books published globally each year. Think about what that means. 2 million new books every single year, competing for readers, limited time, and the money. This intense rivalry put pressure on everyone in the industry. It drives prices down. Many ebooks are priced at 99 cents or even free. It fragments audiences into small niches. It forces constant innovation to stand out. When rivalry in this intense, success requires either a strong competitive advantage or finding a less crowded niche where rivalry is lower. Now let's move to sub-tier power. The second force is sub-tier power, the leverage that suppliers have over the industry in publishing. Authors are suppliers of content. Star authors can negotiate massive advances and favorable terms, while literary agents increasingly shape publishing trends through their filtering role. If you're Stephen King or G.K. Rowling, you have enormous supplier powers. Publishers complete for your work and accept your terms. But if you're unknown debut author, you have almost no supplier power. Publishers can offer you triple terms and you'll probably accept it because you're desperate to be published. Literary agents function as powerful gatekeepers. A top agent's rejection can effectively block access to major publishers because most big publishers won't even look at unagented submissions. Understanding supplier power helps you recognize your negotiating position realistically and work strategically to increase your leverage over time by building audience reputation and track records. So we will stop here and we'll continue inshallah next time tomorrow, the last session. Until tomorrow, ta for now.